Screenshot does it? This thing. What does it hit? I go live. Come on now. Dump that. All right, so my countdown timer is failing me. I had it nice and queued up, and as soon as I go live, it froze up, and I am remote, so that could be part of the reason. Not having my home internet. So hopefully this doesn't happen on others. But y'all, hang in there. We're going to just wait a few minutes, let folks come on in before we get part 3 of simple dryer repair. Hope everyone had a good day today. Hope y'all having a good week. Mine was pretty cool. As you can tell, I'm on the road. But we're going to get started here in a few minutes. Just let folks on mosey on in. It's where as soon as I go live, like all my devices just start acting weird. Everything wants to freeze up and not work. Oh, jeez. Murphy's Law, man. It don't apply to just doing repairs. Applies to everything. So let's go. So just hang in there, and we're gonna start in a few. Countdown timer has failed me, so we'll get started in a minute here. Do my last minute finishing touches. Got my notes ready. Hope y'all ready. Live. Just hang in there, hang in there. Let's go this route. Okay, this one will allow me the volume control. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and get the party started. As soon as I find something to prop my phone up. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get the party started. Thank you. Let's turn this music down a little bit. A little sham sham sham. Okay. Welcome to the Power Block. I am your Encompass rep. Look at the music going. Let me do that over again with some little music in the background. Let's get that over here. Here we go. A little beat in the back. All right. Welcome to the Power Block. I am Reggie, your Encompass rep. LOYR, lean on your rep. If you are new to the block, we are 3 YouTube channels, 1 powerful block of Appliance Industry Talk. After me, you have Mona and Tim in the middle with SSG Appliance Academy. I'm sorry, I'm on autopilot. Today's a 1-hour show. No Mona today, but Mona will be back on Monday. So, you got your Encompass rep, you got Mona and Tim on Monday, and then we have at 8 o'clock the OG Mike Sneed with Appliance Boot Camp. So, Encompass, we have virtual live training with Tim Burdick. This training allows you to still be out in the field, right, without having to report somewhere, and keep your pencil sharp with the latest and greatest of manufacturer training on the products that you service. You definitely want to keep your pencil sharp. Excuse me for looking off the camera. I'm going to put this link in the description. And so, one second. Boom. BK from the Rockies. Appreciate you. Pitcher Man, what up? Lean on your rep. Boom. So, link in the description. If you are interested, just check out our virtual training. It's $25. You got 2 days to choose from. And it keeps your pencil sharp. It's for median to expert level technicians. Another angle is SSG Appliance Academy, ssgapplianceacademy.com. Use promo code Encompass to get 10% off, and that is with Mona Sims. She has a 2-week basic appliance repair class. One is wrapping up tomorrow. So the newest thing now is if you need technicians, you can't find them to hire, so you got to make them. People get green peas, send them to 2-week school, do a ride along, boom, you got technicians. So ssgapplianceacademy.com. And then Mike Sneed does hands-on, and he has an online curriculum that you can follow with Appliance Boot Camp. And not only, hang on, let's slow down. Not only does Mike teach you the appliance repair business, he also helps you stay in business with his strategy that's called the Blueprint. So definitely check that out. If you have questions, hit Mike up at 8 o'clock or go on to appliancebootcamp.com. It's that simple. We keep it simple around here with the URLs. So that's what we doing, man. That's how we do it. So today, it seems a little different. If y'all watched the last show, I had some new toys, some new stuff that features for the show, and I thought I was gonna make it home today, and it's so much work. I'm in South Carolina, and it's so much work out here. It's so many people in need of Encompass OEM parts. I said, I gotta stay another day. It'll be a disservice to the industry if I don't spread the word. So I decided to camp out. So I was in Greenville all week. Went out to Greenville, then hit Spartanburg, and as I was going to head home, I got this technology I use that shows me Encompass accounts, and I saw a bunch of Anderson, some opportunities. I looked at it, and I was like, one more day. So I'm here one more day. So I'm in my hotel room doing the block, and so here we are. And I had a really, really good conversation. And so usually, I got to eat breakfast, I got to eat lunch, I got to eat dinner. So I always invite, when I can, Encompass customers out with me when I'm in that area. And so I had dinner with a really good brother yesterday, man. I'll tell you about that closer to the end of the show, because he watches the show. He's an Appliance Bootcamp alumni, and he's got a great strategy for flipping. So my next series, I'll announce Monday. I'll announce it Monday. It's either gonna be flipping or washers. I don't know which one. I'm gonna go over. I don't know. I might do a day. I might do a day talking about some more stuff on flipping and washers. And so, if y'all new to the channel, I am a rep for a parts distributor. And so I go around to 30 different places. Untamed, how's it going? Appliance Check, what's going on? No problem, brother. There he is. And so, so I go around to 30 servicers a week, and I'm a sponge for information and knowledge. And so I absorb all I see. When I was flipping washers and dryers out of my garage, making a great living now, and had good free time. And there's things I wanted to know. So as a rep now for Compass, who is a original manufacturer parts distributor, I now focus on, with my customers is, I always wanted to be the rep that I wanted, right? The rep that I always wanted is what I strive to do and be. I never had a rep come by my place. I had to use appliance store. Never had a rep come by or anything. And so I just, just want to be the opposite of, it'd been nice to have somebody to bounce information off of. So anyway, LOYR, lean on your rep. Also, if you do not have an Encompass account, you are missing out. Lower your cost of doing business by having an Encompass account. And that comes in many ways, right? Competitive pricing, availability, which is probably the most important availability, and diversity. So we got the parts and we got the hard to get parts, right? So let's go to screen. Well, it says I'm sharing. I don't know. This thing not showing up screen. I don't know. It's weird. So let's go to screen share Kung Fu. I got a sound bite for that, and it's in the equipment at the house. So let's show it. Boom. All right. So there you go. If you go to the description, there is a Linktree link, not the Linktree link. That's the go to Mike or later. There is a Hello Sign link, and this is where you can go sign up for an account. Now we are very, very lone wolf friendly. We just want to sell parts to servicers, no matter who you are, no matter how big you are, no matter how small you are. So the application is very easy. It asks a lot of questions, but that does not disqualify you. Fill it out. If something that you do not know or have, put NA, and let's get you rolling with an Encompass wholesale account so you get your parts at wholesale price. All right. So, my screen share is not working. Oh, there we go. I said all that without screen share on. Boom. There you go. Looks like that. Looks like that. That right there. Alex Hand, how's it going, man? Hey, how those golf balls serving you? Let's put that comment on the screen. Appreciate you, man. So let's get into dryer repair. Let's get rid of screen share real quick. And so I want to do a quick recap on the last two blocks where I talked about dryer repair. And keep in mind, I'm starting the series off with dryer repair because what it does is it's a starter, in my opinion, obviously, right? But I think a lot of people share it. It's a good start to get into the appliance business. If you decide to retire it's a good product to just do on the side, right? Dryers are very simple to repair. Despite all the changes in appliances and boards that have been put on, dryers are pretty much been the same for decades, right? Pretty much just been the same. That Whirlpool element is still in the same location that it was 30 years ago, right? That tube dry element is still the same. So dryers, knock on wood, has not changed, and so hopefully it stays that way. I don't really know what they would do to change them. Washers definitely have changed a lot, but not your washers. Dryers. Hang on. I'm trying to multitask here and get my screen share going. So, 1 minute. I'm gonna get going. So yeah. So anyway, with dryers, that is. So it's gonna be a good start. And if definitely have any questions, reach out to me. You can leave a comment below. And this is not cooperating with me. Hang on. I'll move some things around. Technically, man, today has been a rough day for technology for me. But we're going to get through it, and we're going to get this information to you. So, can anybody tell me, from I watched the last few shows, what are the three components of how a dryer works? Can someone tell me the three components of how a dryer works? Please leave it in the comments. Little pop quiz. Little pop quiz. Three components on how a dryer works. All right. Screen share going. Let's get the screen share going. Boom. All right, so the three components on what makes a dryer works. Sorry, hang on, screen share. There we go. So the three components on how a dryer works is airflow, heat, drum rotation. And Picture Man had it. There you go. Heat, airflow, drum rotation. Yes, sir. Picture Man. So, yes, these are the main components. So, when repairing anything, the first strategy is to learn how it works. Because you know how it works, you know how to fix it. Right? So, let's talk about airflow. Right? Let's do a recap on airflow. And then we're going to end off on drum rotation and some components. And I'm going to talk about Samsung dryers. So we're on for an hour today. So we're going to 8 o'clock. We're going straight through to 8. And then I'm going to pass the baton to Mike Sneed. So y'all get your notes ready. And feel free to comment, right? Because remember, none of us is better than all of us. None of us know more than all of us. So y'all veterans, man, feel free to put anything in the comments. That's helpful. And so airflow, right? So airflow, this is kind of a scary thought, but the air that goes into the drum comes in from the inside the dryer, right? So that's kind of a scary thought when you think about all the lint you see inside of a dryer. The air actually passes over the heating element, as you see. You can follow my cursor here. Down here, this is the element. Air flows through this duct into the drum, and then it gets sucked down through obviously the lint screen, either on top or here over here, at the door. Those are usually the two places you'll see a lint screen. And it passes through the blower wheel, which is creating all the suction. And then it creates suction here and then pushes it through the air ducts. So now you see how important airflow is, because air passes through those clothes. And as you all know about the laws of thermodynamics, heat flows from hot to cool. So as the heat is absorbing that the moisture passes through, and if this air duct is clogged, it will prevent moisture from exiting. It gets humid, it gets hot, you get moisture on your heating element. These fuses are working overtime to turn on the element, turn off the element to maintain temperature. Lots of wear and tear happens, right? You get moisture on your lint screen. Yes. A clogged up air duct, really the biggest enemy of a dryer is bad airflow. And it has a domino effect, because this air duct here getting clogged brings moisture, keeps moisture back here into the dryer, hot, humid, muggy, like a sauna. And then now that moisture is going to stick to your lint screen. Thus, the lint that's on there is going to stick, right? Making it least, if not very efficient at all. So you can go through the trouble of repairing the dryer, clean out air ducts, but if you don't manage the lint screen, inspect it, and even replace, which is always the best thing, the safest way to go, you're going to have some problems. A dryer won't be efficient, and an inefficient dryer completely wears out that heating element and wears out the fuses, the thermostat. So airflow, and these are things you explain to your customers, right? So different types of ventilation. My arch nemesis when I was new was roof vents. Because all I could tell customers were like, I can't see it. I don't know if it's clogged, but it probably has an issue. Now I know, because I thought you had to climb on a roof to actually clean out a roof vent. And actually, you do not have to do that. It's not necessary at all. I can't think of too many reasons, unless this thing is just worn out. And in that instance, the customer needs to hire a professional to replace that, because now you're talking about roofing tiles and all the other stuff. The center picture is that pipe on the roof ventilations. This pipe is where you access it. You access this in the attic, right? Obviously, do not send a technician that don't have the common sense to step on the studs. Or at least lay down some plywood or something in their attic to step on. Because if any slip, you're going through that customer's roof. Dangerous you can die, right? You can die. You never know what you're going to land on. And it's just a bad look, right? So Pitcherman said, bad dryer vent ducts in apartment complexes is a Flipper's best friend. Lots of dryers on the curb. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah, that poor dryer. That poor dryer. Is that like when you see a dryer on the curb and you see like a blanket on that lint screen, or you see a lot of lint in the dryer because you can tell there's probably some blowback suction in there. Yeah, it's like, that poor dryer got a bad rep, right? It was innocent of the crime and got put on the curb. I see your picture, man. That dryer was innocent, but it was considered guilty in the court of the customer. Then you save it and bring it back to life, right, by flipping it. So this vent pipe, right? You can disassemble that in the roof. Usually it's connected by aluminum tape and a screw. That's about it. And this picture on the far right here is a sample of how that screen looks on this roof air duct. So continuing to review, that roof air duct will gather that screen. If it's clogged like this, it's going to gather moisture because the hot air kind of sits up in here, and once that dryer stops running, so heat holds moisture, right? Heat molecules hold moisture, and once they cool, it can no longer hold it, and it releases. And so what happens is, let's go back. Let's see if I can go back. Here, so let's say this is running through the roof. That moisture comes all the way back down. So when somebody says their dryer is leaking, most likely the water is coming out of the connection here, and it's usually a sign of a bad air duct, right? Because I know a lot of times as technicians, a customer says that, like, I think the water is coming out of the dryer. The first thing you think, like, well, there's no water unless it's a steam, and maybe that thing is leaking, which is rare. You're like, that doesn't sound right, right? Or it's coming from the water heater that might be next to it, So anyway, you gotta clean the screen out when you disassemble that pipe. All right, let's continue with our review. These are the reasons why you will see, like on the right hand side here, this air duct is completely caked up with lint. Why is it like that? Because it's caked up with lint because of Exhibit B here in the middle. You've got a outside vent with no cover. So what happens what's going on right now? No rodents can get in here, right? Excuse me, hang on. No rodents can get in because you got a screen. Bravo, nice. But a more dangerous predator is getting in, and it's called H2O. And what's happening is you get that moist air, especially even in the south or somewhere where it's a little humid. You get that moist air going directly into that duct, and moisture is on those walls of that air duct. You got moisture on the walls of it, and when you're running your dryer, that lint is sticking, and it's called a capillary action. So that capillary action is sticking to the sides of that pipe. Eventually, and actually your heart works the same way. Your veins in your heart work the same way. It clogs up and creates a air duct restriction. First thing that goes usually is the heating element, and then once it completely closes, fuses start to pop. So, and Exhibit A here is an example of no flap also, or even you can have a flap if it's halfway stuck open because lint has built up. Moisture is getting in there, and now with this screen, this lint that's inside this pipe sometimes breaks free and ends up here in the screen, creating another clog. Right, so heat flows from hot to warm or cold to cooler temperatures. That's how heat flows. Drum rotation. Drum rotation is very, very important. Now, if you've repaired a Whirlpool dryer, right, with the vent screen on top, those dryers do not have a belt switch, right? So when a belt snaps in those things, it's still running. And the complaint from the customer is, man, only half my clothes are getting dry. And that's because that drum's not rotating, and so air is still passing through, but it's passing over the top clothes, and so the bottom clothes are still damp and wet, right? So drum rotation is very important because when those clothes hit this, I'm pointing like you're looking at me. So when it hits this baffle here, that helps tumble the clothes and create separation. So that separation allows air to flow through and your clothes evenly gets dry. I'm actually a fan of gas dryers because I think the heat from a flame compared to electrical resistance is better. And GE design dryers because GE has more even heat because their heating element is right behind the drum directly. No air duct or nothing. It's right there. And so you get more of an even heat, right? Compared to coming out of one little canal, which, I'm sure they all have their scientific reasons, right? The manufacturers. So that's that. So let's move on. Let's get out of screen share Kung Fu here. Any questions? Feel free to leave them in the comment section. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going all the way to 8:00. So next, I'm gonna dig into some of the parts we reviewed so far, and then we're gonna dig into Samsung dryers. Samsung dryers. Flipper's dream. Now, so, Samsung dryers you're a flipper. They're newer looking, and usually they need that belt pulley, the belt idler, the belt tensioner. So we're gonna go over all that. So let's go to screen share Kung Fu once again. Boom. There we go. Let me get my music back. I had my little music going, so I get a little lower. So y'all hang on. Here we go. Little background beat, subtle. Turn up just a little bit more. Okay. All right. I admit I could be a little flat, right? So a little background music helps the brother out. All right, so screen share Kung Fu. Hang on, that's a little loud. All right, screen share Kung Fu. Don't forget your Encompass app. So last week we talked about. Forgot an extra step. I gotta go. There we go. So last week we talked about. Picking up schematics so you can figure out like your thermistor, resistance. You can figure out what has power, what doesn't. This is very helpful when it comes to like timers and stuff. So definitely hit SSG up on classes on schematics training and troubleshooting, right? One of the most important things about dryers is knowing how to wire them up. Right, as a flipper, every once in a while you'll be gifted a dryer from a customer because they say, "Oh, I got a new one because the one I had, the wire didn't fit the house I had moved into." So basically, saying they didn't know you could switch that, you just change the wire. So that happens too as a flipper. So 3-prong dryers. You got your 2 leads on the side are power. You get 120 volts on this line, this leg, 120 on this leg. This one, no voltage runs through it. And when you test with your meter, test individually, right? So you ground one out. You should get 120, 120. And then when you test them both together with your voltmeter, you should get 240-ish, right? 240, 238, something like that, right? And the reason why it's important, I had to educate so many maintenance guys, right? I would sell a customer a dryer, and I would get there, and the dryer didn't work, and I tested the voltage and say, hey, especially apartment complexes, excuse me, I'd say, hey, the dryer, your line's not working. I would show the customer with my meter, hey, it needs 140, 240, it's not, So I get 120. And I would have to leave written instructions for the maintenance guy. I'll tell the customer, make sure this is how they test. Because you get some guys that come with their meter, excuse me, and test the 2 power and say, oh, it's 240, look. But sometimes you get 240 out of one leg because there's a issue with the breaker. Right? So, yeah. So that's always fun. That's always a fun customer education. So dryer's gonna be 3-prong or 4-prong. 4-prong, from what I've been told by electrician, that the 4-prong is the new regulation, right? And with the 4-prong, you still got your 2 leads, but now this neutral wire, remember from back here, let's go back. This wire here is now taken off and put in the middle. And it creates a neutral. And so now your new ground is coming from the wire itself. It's here. So that's your new ground. Right? And here's another simple diagram how to properly wire a dryer. So it's still it still catches me off guard. It surprises me when I see people still wire dryers wrong, even do-it-yourselfers. Because I'm like, man, the most simple YouTube search pulls up the correct way, and if somebody is on YouTube showing the incorrect way, I don't see how that wouldn't last long, because I know we on it as a community. We be on people and be like, yo, we call somebody out, they wrong. So look at my comments. I see you. She's gonna go over. Looking at the comments here. So there's a comment from Sean. There's a question from Sean. Sean says, you can convert a 240 dryer to run on a 120, but will take a long time to dry since it only operates on a quarter of the heat output versus 45 to 56,000 watts. Okay, it's good to know. I can imagine on those coils. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder, how would that affect the coils, and would that put wear and tear on the element, not getting enough? That's what I wonder on that. Insadata Ray says this is important. So great show. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Ray. Oh, Roy, I'm sorry. I got my glasses on, man, because of the reflection. So, Roy, my bad. Roy. Yeah, so, yeah, man. So y'all drop that knowledge, man. Drop that knowledge. Very helpful. Thank you, Sean. So Sean said you can make it work. That would be interesting, especially for people with houseboats and stuff like that, and really, really old apartments that, don't have a 240 line, and I guess you can rig it up for it to work on 120. I don't know that, but I trust your judgment, brother. And again, y'all drop knowledge, man. Whatever y'all know, drop it on. Help us out. Help everybody out. None of us is better than all of us. You've got 2 outlets. These are your 2 outlets. I know some of y'all can contest. When you walk in, you see that dryer cord on that. You see an oven cord on that dryer, and they bent it to fit right here at the bottom. Because the oven clothes are straight at the bottom, They see people bend them up. So Sean said it won't put access wear on the heating element since it runs at a lower voltage. No difference than running a incandescent light bulb at a low voltage. Ah, there you go, Sean. I'm sold. Boom. Knowledge. There we go. See? This is the appliance community. That's good to know. All right. So now we have the parts you're going to need, right? So speaking of heating elements, now we're looking at, before anybody have a heart attack, an Encompass site here. This is retail price. So before y'all start complaining saying we high or whatever, nope. This is retail price. So if you don't have an account, that's what you pay. If you have an account, it's cheaper. And keep in mind the protection plan that's offered. You can do a 1-year warranty or you can do a 2-year warranty, right? And the part will carry whatever. This got nothing to do with a distributor. The warranty is directly for not these warranties, but the warranty that comes with the part is from the manufacturer, not from Encompass. We are offering an extended of that for you called a protection plan for 1 year or 2 years, which is great for retail customers. But if you got a mind for business, now you're advertising 2-year part warranties. I'm just saying. I'm leave that there. If you got a mind for marketing, mind for business, that's a good strategy. Think about that. Also, last week we went over this timer. This is this Whirlpool timer. This Whirlpool timer traditionally has. I'm sure they fixed it, but these leads here, right? The lead on the end, right here, says that, and the lead next to it, and also the third lead. Both of these two should have continuity. Make sure the timer is set on a heat setting, right? Because if it's in an off position, you will not, it's not going to have continuity. But these two leads is what gives the dryer heat. So if there is no continuity, so inside this timer, which is really easy to take apart, inside that timer, the contacts has arcing. It arcs, and so you have buildup. You have having a brain fart right now, but carbon. There you go, carbon buildup between those contacts. And so with that, you're gonna run into no continuity. Now, some people will sand it down, which a lot of people do not recommend because there's a thin layer on there that you're gonna sand off. Also, the dexterity of the metal may be compromised where it's not fully contacting now. So it is better to buy another one. And again, get wholesale rates by getting an Encompass account. If you look in the description, there is a link in the description for a wholesale account in the description of this video. All right, and your thermal fuse. This is strictly related to overheating and high heat at the blower wheel. Yeah. This because even on front load dryers, this part is present. So let's get into Samsung. I know y'all liking the 360 part rotation, right? That's a new feature with Encompass. I know y'all liking that. Let's see if I can get it to do it again. So in that and the zoom, you can check your part out. This is good for especially electronic parts. You can look at that plug and make sure it's the correct plug that you need. So Samsung dryer, some Samsung belt tensioners, right? So let's talk about that. Notorious for going out on older models. The newer models now have the correct tensioner. And you know something on this tensioner, y'all? Let's go back. This tensioner has an actual ball bearing. You see that black part? That's an actual bearing. Cars have bearings to make the wheels turn. Ball bearings have been used for decades. It's a great invention. Whoever invented the ball bearing, family is probably filthy rich for generations. Because the ball bearing isn't going nowhere. And it's great technology. Probably the biggest attachment to since the invention of the wheel. It made the wheel even better. So yeah, that's great, right? So let's dig into Samsung dryers. I just closed the window on it. That's okay. Hang on. Let's go back. So Samsung dryers and just front load dryers in general, right? And I call them front load dryers, but all dryers are front loading. But it's more of those high efficiency sets. It usually has a matching front load washer. And many of these dryers have tube elements. So if you've seen one, you almost seen them all. Those dryers are made up of tube elements. And you also have your lint screen inside the door. And most of them have a computer board. Right? And so that computer board, hang on one second. Let me stop screen share. Let me go back to my screen. Sorry, y'all. Hang on one second. And so that can so those are usually the things that go wrong. Your heating element fuses. Your pulley. The pulleys go. I would say in the high efficiency dryers, the pulleys seem to go bad faster than what I've seen in other dryers. Snap belts, and in certain cases, like so the Kenmore Elites, the older ones, those did have a lot of issues with their boards. Matter of fact, that little relay, I know a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about, that little L-shaped relay used to always blow out in those things. Every once in a while, Samsung will have a board issue. I haven't come across that very often, though. But airflow, heat, drum rotation is your claim to fame with dryers. Let's read some comments real quick. Definitely withstand the life of the thermostat and thermal fuel cutoffs running at lower voltage. Yeah, you got that right. If they come on at all, right? Electric dryer. Sean dropping nuggets, man. Electric dryer timers tend to arc more since it has to cut power for a high voltage heating element versus only about 20 to 30 watt for a gas valve on gas dryer. Sean, you must be the resident expert on dryers, man. We should have co-hosted it. Look, he's dropping knowledge. Keep dropping it, Sean. All companies basically copy Maytag's dryer design from 1976. It has the same setup as most front load dryers and most filter Whirlpool, LG, Samsung, all the same setup. Yes, sir. The knowledge, the appliance community is coming to the rescue. And a lot of people can contest to this, man. Nice thing is now, especially with YouTube and influencers and stuff, the knowledge, man, is so helpful, right? The information to have almost like a mentor at your fingertips by looking at a video, right? And getting helpful advice and tips. And people just passing on the knowledge, not letting the knowledge die with you. You know, you pass it on. That's how great societies are built. So definitely, I'm with you on that one. So let's go to screen share Kung Fu. I am having a small technical issue, but we'll get through it. I'm a part of a vintage appliance forum and have learned quite a few things in the 5 years I've been on the forum. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So this is this will be the Samsung fuse. I kind of wish they would redesign that sticker because the aftermarket ones look just like that, and they are not good parts. The aftermarket, you shouldn't be using aftermarket anyway. I mean, it's not worth the $2 or $3 you're saving. If there is a 25 or more percent difference, there's not that much markup in parts, so you've got to cut somewhere. And I'll leave it at that. You got to save somewhere, and that's usually in the manufacturing part of it. So anyway, you've got, this is your, I call it, personally, I label it a heat regulator, right? Also, it's called a thermostat, right? And just like the thermostat at your home, if you got one of those Nest or those fancy ones, or you just set it at a certain, so it's designed to cut off at a particular temperature and cut back on at a particular temperature. So usually at a 50 Fahrenheit radius. This fuse is testable. Now this is something you're going to need to know. Add this to your arsenal. It's getting dark. Hang on, let me turn on the light. Hang on. Add this to your arsenal. If you use a pair of pliers to grab that fuse and a lighter, and within seconds, probably like 10 seconds, maybe 15, you'll hear a ting inside. So inside these fuses is something called a bimetal, and that metal is designed to retract with heat. Retract, restrict, and retract, with heat. And so with this fuse, you will have continuity. Once you put heat to it, the fuse disconnects, and the bimetal disconnects, and you will have no continuity. That's a sign that it works. So you put a flame to that fuse, you hear a sound, put your probes back on there, your voltmeter, you should have no continuity, right? It should be open. And then you wait. As it cools off, you'll hear that ping again, or a little tick sound, and you'll have continuity again. So continuity, fire, no continuity, cool off, continuity. Heat ranges. And that's a way of testing that fuse, and you know it works. But if you are changing out a heating element, highly, highly recommend. Now, you can either include it in your pricing, or you can use it as an upsell recommendation to the customer, right? And sometimes it's a judgment call. You want to go ahead and just include it in the pricing, just to do a customer a service, because if that you decide they decline that repair and then that goes out, regardless if you give them an option or not, that customer is going to hold you accountable and say, "Oh, you knew that wasn't going to work," So it's better just to avoid the headache, right? Also, you've got so when it comes to upselling, you definitely want to present that as, "Hey, it's recommended that these fuses are changed." Right? Because you hate to put a brand new heating element on with old fuses. That just, depends on how you run your business. So, depends on how you run your business. I'm just saying. Right? So, you've got that. This fuse. You've got your thermistor here. Now, not every dryer has a thermistor. Thermistor cannot... it has to be tested with resistance and not continuity. You look at your wiring schematic to see the amount of. And you go over here. Let's go to the wiring schematic. For this is not a Samsung dryer. This is a random dryer. So don't take this to. So 10 ohms, 10,000 ohms. Correct me if I'm wrong there. If saying that wrong, 10,000 ohms on that thermistor at room temperature. Now it may not be exact because it depends on the temperature of the room you're in, right? I don't think it's that sensitive, but give it a small range, right? So I'm gonna post Sean's comments here. Your thermistor. That's the okay. So we got that Samsung dryer. So let's go through. And the nice thing about Encompass site, right? Usually the most ordered parts I've realized is what you'll see first, or the recommendation, right? So let's go to recommendation here on the belt tensioner. I'll tell you another thing too. Let me point something out, and I've been meaning to bring this up on my show, and I never could find it. But there's a difference between aftermarket and OEM. So your OEM part is going to have, see this arm here. See this little ridge. I've seen aftermarket parts not have that ridge, right? And again, this is where it's a reason why there's a price difference. And you wouldn't think nothing of a little indentation being here, right? Well, what this indentation does is gives it stability. Because if you install these things, right, if this piece is flat, it bends. And so now, if your belt, let's say this is your belt, and this is the pulley, your pulley could be crooked with your belt on there. It's a reason why you should use OEM. And encompasses all OEM parts. If you have a parts store, a lot of parts stores for some reason think people just want the cheapest thing, and that's usually not the case. Technicians like to use quality parts so they don't have to worry about callbacks, right? And they'll pass that price on to the customer, which is the normal price, right? And and I've heard people say, well, I want to make sure I give my customer a good value. You're not giving a good value by having a lower price. You give them a good value by having good products for the price. So anyway, we got that, right? Let's scroll down. Sean dropping nuggets, man. Y'all drop some nuggets. Sean need the link. Yeah, sure do. Yeah, Sean, I'll put my link in here, brother. You want to come in? Because Sean got something to say. Yeah, here we go. Sean, anybody want to jump in the show? My referral link is going to, my visitor link is in the chat if you're watching this live, which we are now. Well, Sean, I got some. We need to hear from you, Sean. So now we've got, and these are very common. Roller, okay, so let's talk about dryer rollers when it comes to dryer repair. If you got that dryer apart, you should be upselling, not only, so especially on Samsung, right? If you got a bad roller, a bad belt tensioner, and most likely that belt ate into the pulley itself, right? When you see them grooves in there, that plastic, highly recommend to encourage the belt, recommend the belt be replaced, right? Because now there's wear and tear on that belt. There's a domino effect. There's wear and tear on that belt. While you got the dryer apart, right? You do, clean the dryer out. All that should be built into your pricing, or you can do it as an upsell. Rollers. Rollers take a beating, right? Also, something I do, you don't have to do it, but something I did, was, and there's different philosophies. Sean, you weigh in, man. Weigh in, Sean. To grease the shaft or let it run dry. This shaft that the roller is on, some people lubricate them. Some people let them. Some people believe I've been told people say factory specs is that it stays dry. Let me give you my nugget. My nugget is I put motor oil on the shaft. Now, I put it on a rag or a paper towel first and rub it on because you don't want to be pouring oil over that thing and it hits the motor and then you got a fire hazard or it smells like oil. But I just rub it on that shaft because motor oil is designed for heats way higher than what a dryer produces, and it's designed to stick to metal. So for me, motor oil is the ultimate friction reducer for rollers. I think we all agree that you do not put grease on their rollers inside the shaft. Do not put grease in there because what it'll do is it'll actually seize up. It'll seize up. Hair will stick to it. Lint will stick to it. That'll be the worst thing you can do. So, rollers. Let's go. Now, heating elements. Now, hang on, let me get off screen share Kung Fu. Talk to you a little bit, so I'm gonna pull something up. Now, have any of you ever restringed a dryer? Have any of you ever restringed a dryer? So, if you never heard of that, there's something Frigidaire has a restring kit, right? Frigidaire / Electrolux. So I'm a fan of the restring kit, right? Because the restring kit, just as a flipper and running COD calls, it was just easier for me to carry. Because I would have, especially when it comes to like those Frigidaire elements, that's a dish. Hang on 1 second. Trying to rock and chew gum at the same time here. Those just get so damaged in my truck. And so the restring kits, the little coils, come in a little bag. You can put like 4 or 5 of them in your 2 bag if you needed to. With a full element, you cannot do that, right? And so these restring kits. But restringing a heating element is a skill. I wholeheartedly do not recommend restringing a Whirlpool element on the box element. Even if you know how to do it, it's not worth the labor and time. It takes a long time. You gotta get it right. But the big dish, the shotgun elements, stuff like that, those things are completely restringable. I'm trying to pull it up. And so it's just good to have, right? It's good to have It's good to have if you are. Hang on. Just to have, right? Because now, number one, just buying a whole element is better because you can get it faster. I mean, you can just put it on faster, right? You just put it on, you keep moving. Sometimes you try to restring something, the heat plate that's supported by the ceramic on the housing that holds the coils, that heat plate could get worn out and needs to be changed out anyway. So definitely, it's a good plan B, because if it's a Sunday you can't get parts, and you're working, it was a Saturday, you can't get parts, and you got that restring kit in your bag, and you know you can knock out that repair right then and there, and you take a, it's obviously faster to go ahead and restring it than to stop and come back, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do screen share Kung Fu. And here's your restring. Come on. And so this is OEM restring, and again, this is retail pricing. So log into your account to see what see what your pricing will be at a wholesale price. So this is the restring. This is the actual coil itself, and the tube elements. So let's go to a tube element. That's not it. That's not it. I thought I had it up. That's not it. All right, hang on. Tube elements. All right, I didn't put one up. Okay. So anyway, a tube element is that element you see with the, one second. You'll see in front load dryers, right? The high efficiency dryers. You'll see that tube element. And this part is very friendly to those elements to restring. So definitely something you want to practice on your own. Restringing is a skill. And also don't forget, when testing for continuity, also test for grounding. So you put your voltmeter on one of the leads and the other on a metal on the dryer, preferably the housing of the element. And if you have continuity, you've got a grounded element. So when you restring, be sure that it's not, you did such a sloppy job that it's touching the metal. Also keep in mind, in time, these coils stretch and wear, right, from the heat. And so you also got to allow some room for error if it sags a little bit, right? If that ever happens, or you got poor ventilation. So if y'all got any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. And also, I'm going to talk about next week's show before we pass the baton to Mike. So next week, so this has been my series on simple dryer repair. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Either I will answer them, or someone from the appliance community will give you an answer. We're a new generation where we actually share knowledge with each other, and we want to see, we want to see each other grow. We want to see, we want, through appliance repair, we want to see other people win. We want to see other people put food on their table. And we want to see nobody struggle, man. I mean, it's enough money for everybody, so we're spreading the knowledge and pass it on to the next generation. Don't let the knowledge die with you, man. Don't let it die with you. So next week, on Monday's show, I'm going to talk about my next series. Also, I want to talk about my next series, and I want to talk about a brother I met yesterday, I had dinner with, that got a different perspective. He opened my eyes up to something he learned from me, but he made it his own and added his own flavor to it, and it works. So it's a new flip. It's a flip. It's a product I condemned. I was like, man, this is not good to sell. This is not a good product. This isn't good to make money on. And he's proved me wrong. I mean, I never advertise it. I'll never say, hey, never say never. But I say usually it's tough to make money flipping this particular type of appliance. He's figured out a cheat code for it. And after speaking with him, he's camera shy, but he gave me permission to share what he's doing. So y'all stay tuned for Monday's show to find out that flipping is already one of the best kept secrets, but next best kept secret inside the best kept secret is something you're going to want to hear. So that's going to be on Monday, right? So that's my time. Y'all go to my description. If you don't have an Encompass account, Fill it out. Fill out the oh my god, my brain. Fill out the link inside of the screen share, inside my description to sign up for a Compass account. And also go to Linktree description to find Mike Sneed and go to Appliance Bootcamp. Also, if you didn't learn nothing from this show, is one thing you got to take from this show, and that's to LOYR. Lean on your rep. Y'all go over to Mike. I'll see you Monday.